Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode for a number of reasons. Number one, it's Thursday, so you know what today is. It's another incredible interview with another incredible entrepreneur and business owner. And number two, I always love when my friends and clients actually come on here to talk with me because, you know, obviously you've got guys have been listening to this for 4.5 years now, a lot of conversations, but the special ones are the ones that I have a personal connection to, you know, outside of the general interviews. But when it's an old client of mine, a friend of mine that can come on here and share their wisdom, that's when it really becomes an impactful episode, which you guys are all going to love this today. And who I have for you, obviously, is a client and friend, and they specialize in leadership and mindset coaching, which is continues to be a very hot topic in entrepreneurship, because we're all looking to up-level ourselves as leaders. We're always looking to improve the 6 inches between our ears, you know, making sure our minds are right. So we're constantly moving forward in a positive way. And I cannot wait to dig into all that and more. So Deb Stellato, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. I'm super excited to be in this room with you.
Well, grateful to have you here. So before we dive into all the big things that you're doing now, I always like to go back before we go forward. So if you were to go back in time, rewind the tape, and stop at a pivotal moment for you, a catalytic moment for you, or that light bulb moment for you where this path was then opened up that you're now currently on. If you go back in time, what was that moment for you that allowed you to get to where you are today?
I think it came at a time when I was actually getting my IPAC coaching certification. And there were a couple big ahas that happened during that time that I was getting certified. One was that I had always just thought of myself as a consultant, and I was actually looking at coaching as like a side thing that I would do. And I was really struggling with this dichotomy, like, well, I want to be the expert. Like, I want to be the, expert in the room, and I need to be the consultant. And then that other side of the whole process of what it means to coach people. And I remember the instructor there just saying, okay, just be open. And ultimately what I realized on that journey was that, everything I do is around coaching, and the context or the content that I bring forward as a consultant is basically informed by what we do in the coaching process. So I sort of had to let go of my own mindset about my who, and I was able to make that happen. And I guess the other big aha that I had was I did my coaching certification between the loss of the unexpected loss, very unexpected loss of my mom, and then my anticipated loss of my dad. And for some reason, while I was going through this training process of IPEC, I had this epiphany that the work I needed to do was around thinking courageously, especially as it refers to women. And I just leaned into that. I really didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I listened to it and I moved towards that.
So with, all those things that you were moving through on a personal and professional level, what lesson did you learn that most impacted you in a way where you're better to now support others in the leadership and mindset space that you do?
I think one of the key things is to, for us as coaches and entrepreneurs, to ask for the support that we need. I can't tell you how much that's meant to me. I've had really great mentors along the way. I have continued getting coached, because I firmly believe that good coaches, great coaches, exceptional coaches, are open to being coached and are open to getting that feedback. And I've leaned into using the right experts at the right time for the right thing. So I have a one-on-one coach. I'm part of a very large business coaching program. And I'm getting ready to think about writing a book. I mean, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to write a book. And I know that for me to stay accountable and to be on track, I need to have somebody support me. So yeah, it's an investment. It's pivotal though to make those, investments into ourselves. Like I invested in with you with LinkedIn, because that was a whole hole that I had not been really paying much attention to.
Now, as far as investing goes, because this is another hot topic within the coaching space, and there's a lot of people that I don't want to say are winging it, but my wife and I call it patchwork quilting it, where, they download this ebook, they buy this book, they listen to this podcast, they attend some event, and they try to figure it out themselves. How important is it for that, that aspiring leader or that aspiring entrepreneur and business professional to make investments at times where they may not feel it's the right time? Because what I've experienced is every time Nancy and I have decided to make an investment, whether it's onboarding new team members, whether it's investing in a mastermind or a group program, it's exponentially grown our business. And at some of the times that we've done that, it didn't feel like the best time. Like, it's not right, we should wait. But, waiting only delays the inevitable, and waiting only keeps you where you don't want to be. So for that person that's listening to this, that still lives in that fear state or that fear mentality that, I can't invest what I don't have. And I'm not here telling people like, go get a loan or go get a credit card and put it on there. But sometimes you have to stretch yourself in the way financially to get to those big goals that you have. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
Well, what got you here will not get you there. Period. What got you here will not get you there. And so that's where the opportunity for growth lives, in that sort of delta. And having somebody that you can utilize to support you on that journey is absolutely critical. I'm starting a coaching circle. It's going to be called from dabbler to doer. And so I think the patchworkers are dabbling, and they haven't been able to get into the doing yet. Right. And whether that's around accountability or, listen, I made so many mistakes in these first 3 years of my business. I invested so much money in things that I'm like, nah, I don't want to do anymore. And I think getting over that, like, this is what growth looks like. And sometimes you make a misstep, and you have to do something else. But I think that it's worth everything to say yes to what will get you to there. And I don't think you can do it alone. I think people who are doing it alone, it's a time or money equation. Yeah. Can you patchwork forever? You probably can, but I didn't start my business till I was 56, and I don't want to take 10 years to figure out how to do this. So I'm in like senior entrepreneur speed mode. Like, let's get this done.
Senior entrepreneur speed mode. It's a great way to label it. But I think all of us, no matter how young or how old we are, it's when you make those investments, you're not taking a shortcut, you're shortening the learning curve. And there's a big disparity between the two of those, because shortcuts literally take you further away from what you want to achieve, because you miss some of the small nuances and the foundational pieces that you need to succeed. But when you shorten the learning curve by linking arms with either a coach like yourself or myself, or a group program, whatever it is, you're linking arms with the right people. I just got off of a coaching call right before this, and it's a person that's in our mastermind. And they said, do I need a business coach? Do I need anything else? Do I need someone I'm like, you got everything right here. If there's an aspect of your business that you want to plug into, that's why we created this program for you to plug into it. And I think that's a very, very important thing for people to understand, that, coaches aren't there to provide you a shortcut or to, skim the surface or find a quote unquote workaround. They're there to streamline the process and save you time, money, and pain from what they had to experience from their journey. And a lot of the coaching, obviously, that you do is based off of, real experience and, real happenings where you learn through those journeys and then you're able to pass it on to someone else. Now, when it comes to mindset coaching, this is an interesting thing because Nancy and I did a workshop at the time that we're recording this a week or so ago. And we always talk about, it should be so clear of what you do and how you can explain it to someone that a 7-year-old would understand. And what Nancy and I have found is that there's a lot of mindset coaches and a lot of people out there in the coaching space that can't clearly explain what it is that they do. And I'm sure you experience this yourself when you're working with some of your clients. When it comes to people defining what they do, how they lead, how they coach, where do you see some of the kinks in the hose appear in what people are looking to do to better define themselves, but also, how they're looking to grow their business?
So I believe 100% that you have to do the hard inner work in any business opportunity. Just kind of an anecdotal story. I was telling you about this business coaching program that I'm in. And these people, the people in this mastermind or this coaching program, are generating lots of revenue. And every time we are on a call together, they might have the best systems in place. They have the best resources. And yet the things that get in the way are the things that get in their way. Like whatever it is that's getting you stuck in your business is probably also getting you stuck in your life. And, how do you unpack that? Right. I don't always start with what's your business, and when I'm with people, I specifically, in groups that I run, I say to them, take that heavy hat off of leader right now. Like, right. I work with a lot of nonprofits. I work with a lot of women, and they're carrying this hat that's like and I like this analogy a lot. They're wearing like a 20-pound hat, and they can't even carry it. They're like tipping over here and tipping over there. And I say to them, I want you to take for today. I want you to take that heavy hat off and put on a baseball cap. What does it feel like? And the reason that I use that analogy is that when we're always looking at things through like our business, and we're not paying attention to our who, we tend to tip over and lose balance and lose whatever we were looking for. So the leadership mindset work I do is, uncovering what's getting in your way. What's the fear? What's the story? What's the old story you used to tell yourself? My old story was I'm a coach and I'm a solopreneur. My evolved story is that I own a company and I do coaching and consulting. But when I change that lens and that mindset, it allows me to look at things in an entirely different context.
If someone was to ask you what makes you different from other leadership and mindset coaches, what would you say separates you from everybody else?
I think it is like this weird combination, this funky combination of things and experiences I've had along the way. So, I have an undergraduate degree in social work, a master's degree in organizational development. I have this IPEC coaching certification. I've been a C-suite leader. I've worked in diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of the things that really distinguishes me is that I really believe in the power of assessment tools. And I always start when I'm working with a client with a specific tool. And I have, I'm certified in 4 different kinds of assessments. And generally those assessments provide a foundation for our conversation and our work together. And I think the other piece is that I come, and you talked about this before, I really practice an abundance mentality in what I do. Like, I want my clients I want to serve them with abundance. I want to give them as much as I can. I believe that in serving my clients in the best way that I can, that it will model the way for them to be abundant in their business, and great things can happen for them too.
So yeah, it's living by example, and that's the key to helping other people achieve their goals. You have to lead yourself before you can lead others. Now, another question on the other side of the coin is other people that are in the mindset and leadership coaching space. What do you see other coaches out there that are, maybe they don't have the credentials and background that you do, haven't put the time, energy, and effort in? They're just saying, I'm going to teach people how to be a leader. I'm going to teach people mindset because I read a couple books. What are some of the mistakes that you see other coaches making that is not allowing their business to get to where it needs to be?
Oh, that is such a good question. First of all, if you're really looking to do coaching, you need to have somebody tell you that they have the certificate, the extensive International Coaching Federation credentials behind them. There are so many people out there using the word coach that they're a specialist. I think you have to distinguish between a coach and a specialist. And as a coach, I meet you where you're at, and I want you to figure out where you want to go. I am not a teller. If you want me to tell you, you can have me work with you as an advisor. You can have me work with you as a mentor. You can have me work with me as a consultant. But my hat, so to speak, going back to that analogy, as a coach, is to be a guide on your journey and help you find out the answers. Most of us know the answers. Like, most of us know what the answers are. So, I would say that's a big difference. And that doesn't work for everybody. There are people who want to be told. And sometimes I'll say in a coaching call with somebody, okay, I'm taking my coaching hat off and I'm putting my consulting hat on. And because I've had so much experience in the nonprofit sector, and because I work with so many nonprofits right now, people want that. They oftentimes, those folks want a coach mentor, but I'm really clear about when I'm doing what.
I think clarity is one of those, it's not a buzzword. It's one of the most important words, because without clarity, you not only, can't you see in front of you, you don't really have that direction that's needed for, the clearing of the path, so to speak, to get to where you want to be. Now, with, becoming, the leader that you are, the mindset coach that you are, for the person that's listening to this, that is thinking, what, I want to learn how to be a better leader. I have some junk floating between the 6 inches in my ears, and I don't like where I am. I want to get to the next level. Talk to the audience a little bit about how you work with people and the journey they go on, from that person that from inception of engaging with you and wanting to learn certain things, and when they're spit out on the other end, what does that whole process look like for them?
Yeah. So I always have my clients do a lot of work around values. I mean, I believe more important than any skill that you can have as a leader is that what your compass is pointing to, period. Most people do that on a very superficial level. The work that I do with individual clients and organizations is a lot of heavy lifting. It's sorting through your values, defining your values, talking about putting your values into action. And then, that becomes a launch pad for a lot of things and how that shows up. And so I do a lot of that. And as I said, we always start with an assessment, whether it's something called the Leadership Energy Index assessment, do a lot of work with people on something called whole brain thinking, which is a really fascinating tool. I do some 360 work around the leadership challenge. And I do something around organizational capacity. And most coaches don't do that. So I really think that the other differential is the fact that I spend the time and create this spaciousness for people to work on that values piece of things. And then as we go through our program together, we're really talking about what's getting in your way and what that old story is, and, you know, sort of what it feels to stand taller and prouder about your who, and how that begins to resonate in lots of different ways. You know, what I find, Scott, is I like to look at what I do as this combination of supporting people with their competence and their confidence. And I don't think you can do the leadership gig if you don't have confidence. It's way harder to get to that place where you're not playing an imposter. Like, I can't even believe I'm doing this. Like, who told me I could do this? It's way harder to get there than to give people the resources to build their toolbox. So I'd like to really help people with their confidence.
Well, I think competence and confidence go hand in hand, you know, and you beautifully stated that. So before I get to my final question, for those that are listening to this and they want to learn more about Deb Stellato and what she does, how they can work with you, what's the best way for my audience to connect with you, either online or offline?
The best way is through my website, which is the Think Good Company. And also I'm on socials. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I think it says Deb Stellato on LinkedIn. So you can feel free to direct message me there, or on Instagram, or I have a really fun Facebook group called Think Courageously and another one called Think Good. So those would be the ways that you can find me. And certainly you can use the phone, which Scott probably will share that information with you so you can do all those good things.
Yep. All the information that Deb mentioned obviously will be in the description of this episode and the show notes. So Deb, final question before we sign off today. What does success truly mean to you?
For me, again, I'm 60 and I have gotten to some really high points in my career that I've given up or pivoted from because they were not getting me on that path to success, or I didn't feel fulfilled. And I just wrote a blog yesterday about thinking about, you know, in terms of me and my career, for me, success is being able to bring my gifts to light in support of other people's brilliance. And that's what gets me very excited and gets me up every morning and gets me going. So, you know, I feel like I'm a conduit. I'm a pretty sparkly, bright light. You know, I feel like that's my who. I'm an igniter. You know, I bring a lot of energy and I help ignite the best in others. And that's really what success means to me.
And even though, you know, at the time that we're recording this, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but you and I talked on our regular coaching call. You're going to be in Arizona at the same exact time that our Philadelphia Eagles will be playing to win the Super Bowl. So I don't know what's going to, like, again, I feel like they're going to win, but you and I just talked about this and we spoke it into existence. You were going to be out there, and this happened. Actually, the last time you did a trip, you were in Houston at the same exact time that the Phillies were playing the World Series and the Eagles were actually beating the Houston Texans. So I think this is just a good sign of things to come. So Deb, I just wanted to thank you again so much for being here today. I'm just grateful for you as a friend, as a client, as someone who brought such great, wonderful value to this episode. And thank you again for being here.
Scott, thank you so much for having me, and go Birds!
Go Birds! So hopefully at the time that people are listening to this, we'll have already celebrated in the parade. And, you know, this is now will be defending Super Bowl champions moving into when you guys are listening to this. As always, all the information about how to connect with Deb will be in the show notes and in the description of this episode. And for those that would like bonus content outside of the Monday and Thursday episodes, remember, you can start your networking and marketing made simple podcast subscription today. It's only $2.99 a month. The link to do so will be in the description as well. So that unlocks a bonus Friday episode for you and you only. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.